Talk to me, we. Good morning. I'm so tired. That's allow it. So, I just got back, just got off the mountain out above Riggins, Idaho, up Race Creek Road. And I visited with some of our warriors and some of the Rainbow Warriors gathering. They are planning on having their annual meeting up there at the top of road Forest Road 241. It's almost at the top, almost at the 420 junction. For those of you who don't know, the Rainbow Warriors are a group of individuals who believe that they're following the prophecy of Crazy Horse, where a gathering of rainbow people will come and support the Native Americans to help save the world. Um, anyway, they're having a meeting. They have had meetings before of up to 30,000 people, 20,000 in most recent times. And so they are coming to our territory. This is the 1855 treaty territory of the Nimipu. And so they didn't notify us really with any warning or consult with us with meaningful consultation. They just kind of showed up, and so they're up there in our territory. Julian Matthews and I had met with the Rainbow Warriors Moscow contingency last year and let them know that this was not a welcome action on their part. And so Don, the local Rainbow Warrior from Moscow, took that into consideration, and he actually went up there today to meet with the Rainbow Warriors up on Race Creek Road and let them know that he is standing in unity with the Nimipu and asking them to leave. Um, so there's a bunch of other Rainbow Warriors who came to the camp, and after we spoke with them, which I'll speak about in a minute, um, a lot of the Rainbow Warriors turned around and left, saying, "Well, we didn't know. Then this is not what we wanted. I don't want to be a part of it." So some of the Rainbow Warriors are turning around. The ones that are up there are pretty adamant that they're going to stay. And actually today, they started actual work on the actual site in a meadow, all the way at the top of the Forest Road 241. You'll see it on the map at the top of the 241 road. Off to the right, you'll see there's a big meadow, and that's where they're holding their gathering. They've estimated that there are probably going to be about 1,000 Rainbow Warriors coming. There's only about 150 up there now, and so if just actually being up there on the ground, you look at 150 and think, well, there's going to be 10 times that as number here, or even more. It's really disturbing. And so I'll go through what we did on Saturday. Saturday, Anthony Capetillo, I don't even know his last name. Um, there's a representative from the Moses family, from the Lawyer family. The Moffats sent some women warriors up today. But on Saturday, we met with the Rainbow Warriors in their main scout camp, and I brought uh, the Kalamet to pray with them and offer uh, prayers for open hearts and minds to listen to the words that we had to say. And so after introductions, everybody I let uh, our side, our two young warriors speak, talk about why this area was so important to us and that we didn't feel that they should be here based on the fact that most of the Nimipu that we've spoken to and a lot of our elders have said they don't want them here. And so we articulated all this, and then we went around the circle, and then we found out that some of those people are very adamant about being here. They don't care what we say. I mean, you should hear the arguments. Like one of the females there was saying, um, well, don't we have a right to be here? Don't we have a right to gather? Don't we have a right to be on this land just like anybody else? And we said, that's, we kind of directed her to the fact that no, this has been an infringement upon our lands from day one, and it's still continuing, and now they're a part of that. Um, there were others that express in the group that expressed the same sentiment, and we actually went back and forth on the different issues. They had the nerve to tell us, well, what about the cows that are grazing on this land? And what about the berries that are here? We don't see anybody picking the berries, so why not have us pick them? And we had to explain to them that those are our areas. We were over 260 camps strong all along this area, and just because we're not there this year doesn't mean we won't be there next year, or another family will come in when our relatives come home to visit. But it's there, and we know it's there, but we don't overuse it. We can go to different spots so we don't overuse a spot. And they didn't like that answer. And so we went back and forth on the fact that they said, well, what about the grazing? And what about the hunters that are up here? I don't see you up in arms at them. And we explained to them very, very sternly that we regularly fight with those hunters on our land every single year. Every time we go hunting, we're at odds with hunters in our territory, and even now they're trespassing on our lands in on our tribal territory. Um, Actually, on the reservation, they're hunting on our tribal reserves. The people, the hunters. So we do think about, or we do fight this every single year. And then they said that they had not met with NEPTEC, or governing committee, one of the governing committees. It's the subordinate committee to general council. I want to make sure that's very plain. That's by our constitution. The Nez Perce Tribe Executive Committee is a committee underneath the General Council of the Nez Perce people. They said that they had met with NEPTEC, or they hadn't met with NEPTEC. They'd requested to meet with them, and then NEPTEC hadn't met with them. And then they said that they had made contact with a Nathan Red Thunder Bear or Red Bear. Victor Red Bear, I think is the name they gave. And we didn't know, we don't know who this Victor Red Bear is. He's not anybody that any of us there knew. The Nez Perce Tribe Conservation Enforcement officers didn't know who this Victor Red Bear was. And so he claimed that he was Nez Perce. And so they had talked to this man, and he had said yes, he gave them permission. And they believed it. They took a hook, line, and sinker, and we don't know who they're talking about. They met prior to coming up to Rapid River area. They had met in the Lochsaw area in their spring general council of Rainbow Warriors to decide on the final spot that they were going to go to. When they got to the Lochsaw, that's when they said they sent word to have the elders meet with them. And 3 times they were told that the elders were going to be there. And 3 times the elders didn't show up. Now, I don't know who they talked to. I don't know who made the call, if they even called anybody. But they still never met with any of our people. And so I explained to them, why would you go all the way up to Powell and expect our elders to go all the way up there? Expect our committee to go all the way up there? When you hold a meeting with a nation, you come to us. You come to our council, to come to our general council, come to our NEPTEC, come to our elders circle. And they said that they were told that they couldn't come meet here. And they were told that they had to go all the way up there. So that's the reason why they didn't do it. And I explained to them, why didn't you come down here then? a contingent, and that's when they threw out the Victor Red Bear or Thunder Bear or something like that. But um, so I explained to them, well, we're here now, and we're telling you that our relatives, our elders, are saying that we don't want you here. We don't want the impact of thousands and thousands of people who aren't from here coming here right now, especially with the coronavirus pandemic going on right now, and you're bringing in people from outside the area. Um, and so we have to look out for our elders. And so bringing all these people in, and they don't believe in the COVID virus. They don't believe in vaccinations. They don't believe in any of that. Um, and they say they have, they do. They showed me the box. They have a box of masks, but they're not practicing social distancing. They are washing their hands. Some of them are washing their hands frequently, but most of them are just carrying on like life is normal. So, with that regard, I still am opposed to them coming here, even on that ground, because they're bringing in people from all over the United States to this area. And so, as the meeting progressed, one of the Rainbow Warriors who's up there also expressed that he did not know that this was our territory. He didn't know that they didn't get permission. And if he had known earlier, he wouldn't have been participating. And he said, well, be that as it may, I'm kind of here now, so I feel like I kind of want to monitor to see that these people here comply with your wishes with regard to protection of land and not destroying the environment. And if they find stuff when they're digging their Army certified latrines, 4 feet wide or 4 feet deep, 8 feet long, and 1 feet wide, if they find bones or artifacts, that they stop digging and they notify us. We still told them in the end we don't want them here. That's not something that's negotiable. And so that point came across. I will tell you that after having met with them, I thought it was just one big party. I've never attended one or been around one. They do party. There is a party effect going on there, and they do have illegal, but legally illegal substances there. And I'm not directly opposed to any of that, but with the way that they're abusing it is definitely something that shouldn't be here, and it shouldn't be part of a prayer ceremony. That's how we are, but they operate differently. And so I will tell you that some of the way that the Rainbow Warriors camp works is they have different camps. Like they have a Jesus camp where this guy who's a street preacher from Sandpoint is holding a camp where people can come and learn about Jesus. Another guy is talking about having an alcohol camp. And what that is, where our boys are camped up there right now, out there in the rain, we are holding them off because we are in the area that they chose for the alcohol camp. And what the alcohol camp is they allow alcohol in that area. The main meeting ground down in the pasture, there's no alcohol allowed supposedly. But at that alcohol camp, which is down the road from the meeting place, they're allowed to have alcohol, and then the Rainbow Warriors that are leading that camp are offering assistance, offering direction to those people in that alcohol camp, and their goal is to move them from the alcohol camp into what's the word? Alcohol-free commitment to their life, and then they can move into the regular main meeting area. They also have a rehabilitation team, and they worked with a tribe in Wisconsin last year, and they got good responses from the tribe afterwards. The tribe thanked them for the rehab that they did, the seed planting. The Rainbow Warriors, they're really, really earthy people, and they will, if once they know that there's an invasive species, they'll go after it. And these are hippies. I mean, they admit they're hippies. These hippies go crazy on this invasive species, and they'll replant the good species that are native to the area, and they have met already with one of the Forest Service law enforcement officers who's provided them with some seeds from some endangered plant that are in that area. There some plants in that area that are endangered species, and so they endangered species seeds in that area. They say that when they leave, they repair all the trails everywhere that they've been, and they go after micro trash. They'll pick up tiny trash all over the place. Um, they say that they're not going to have their latrines in any of the wetlands areas, and they're pretty strongly regulated. They say the springs, they have what they call ogres, and those ogres guard the springs so that not everybody just comes over there and pulls water out. That's another point of contention with me with using a spring, but that's kind of a natural thing. That's their thing. But the thing is when they go through this camp, it's a prayer for world peace. That's what their ultimate main camp, main meeting area is all about. Now, there's a lot of side stuff that goes on. Like then 2 nights we were there, there was one camp there where alcohol is allowed, and they were pretty intoxicated, and they had some issues up there with the people there. I will tell you also that there are 3 Native Americans at least with this group. Two of them, Duck and Shoshone Tatanka, are from the Oglala Lakota Nation, and they're carrying the vision of Crazy Horse with the Rainbow Warriors. Now, there's another woman, they call her Mama Turtle. That's her Rainbow Warrior name. And I think she's an Alice Reyes from the White Mountain Apache tribe. And so those three are with them. And they say that they're trying to impart values to these people. And when I spoke and with the pipe, some people got up and were very, very rude. And here I had a loaded pipe, so I turned my back to them because I didn't think that was respectful to the pipe that I was carrying and to our people that were standing there, our young people. And so um, there were three different points where those Native Americans tried to explain protocol to these Rainbow Warriors, and they're still working with them to try and get them to understand some respect for the true human beings. And so one of the things that came about was the fact that they told them at one point, if they were disrespectful, that there didn't have to be a meeting. They could call up, to the Tokala Society from Lakota Nation and come out here and have the Rainbow Warriors removed alongside of us, stand next to us and have the meeting removed if they weren't respectful to us, respectful to our wishes. And so there's, we have the three inside. They know protocol, they know respect, but when one of the Rainbow Warrior women started explaining the prophecy, the Lakotas did not want her doing that. That's their prophecy. It's not the white people. It's not the white people's prophecy, and it's not theirs to tell. And so they asked me to stop her from speaking, so I very politely did. The Mary Turtle, or Mama Turtle, we met with her again today, and this is kind of where in the meeting, in this council that we held with them, they said they were kind of between a rock and a hard space because all these people were coming up there at the top of Race Creek, and there's no way to stop them now because they're already on their way. They're supposed to have the meeting in the main meadow on July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And July 4th is when their World Peace Prayer Day is going to happen. And so at one point, I didn't know, I said, I don't know what the solution to this is. I know that we don't want you here. You didn't consult with us. You don't go into someone's house in their living room and say, I'm going to stay here for 2 weeks. And I gave that example to them, and some of the people kind of started to understand then. Um, and if you think about this on the bigger picture, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples declares that prior to any actions happening on our lands, the indigenous people are entitled by rights to a free, prior, and informed consent to that action happening. We use this against pipelines. We use this against fracking companies, against oil companies. And yet now we're using this against these rainbow warriors who are supposedly praying for peace, but they're coming in and invading our territory without regard for protocol, without meeting with our elders, without meeting with our people, without expressing what they do. And I'm going to tell you, they do some good stuff, but the impact of thousands of people coming to an area is still too much. And I explained to them that, some of our people don't probably have no idea what you do. All we think of is it's a great big party, and which it partly is, but we don't know the other good stuff that goes on behind the fact. But when they're all done, and so, they could have explained that to us. Maybe we would have had maybe some of us would have had a different attitude, but they didn't even regard enough respect to come to us and make that known. At one point, I said, William, and I didn't offer any definition, no absolutes. I said, if you would have planned and come to us, maybe we could have supported you going to Yellow Pine. I said, we have a gold mine there that's going in. I said, would you support us in that effort against the gold mine? And they said, yes, they would. And I said, so maybe you need to come to talk to the elders. Maybe you need to come talk to the people. Maybe maybe that might be an alternative. But I said, but meeting here is this is a foregone conclusion. We don't want you in this area. And so Shoshone Tatanka from the Tokala Society on the Lakota Indian Nation is going to be making contact with some of our elders to ask and explain what they do, and but at this point they're already going on with their plan to meet. When we were there, they were building the fire pits in the meadow to have their big meeting down there. So they have already decided we're just going to have it. And so all the headway that we thought we were making with them, they're not. They're turning around. They're turning their backs on us. I will tell you that the boys that are up there, they've been today. We had a fire going. We cut some wood yesterday. Kept the fire going last night. They ate some deer and elk last night. This morning we had some more of the deer and elk for breakfast. They got some tents up there finally, so all the boys are up there can stay in the tents. And some sleeping bags. They are going to need some tarps and batteries, AAA batteries for the radios. So if that's something on your shopping list, you can put aside is the plastic tarps and batteries for their radios. And I'm gonna tell you probably canned goods, because the frozen stuff only goes so far, and they've got to drive a long way to get down the hill to keep ice for any fresh meat that goes up there, any frozen meat. So canned goods and the sandwich stuff can go a long way, and some more coolers so they can keep the food away from the raccoons which came in and ate the bread last night. So we also need more families to send more representatives up there. If we're going to have people on each road, you can get to this area going up the Race Creek Road, just this side of Riggins, or the Lucille Road, which is further up or downstream, but more towards Grainsville. You can go up the Lucille Road and connect at the top and then come right down, and it's right there. So there's two ways to get in there, two main ways. But if we're going to have Nimipu on those roads, we need more families to send more women and men warriors up there to support that cause, to get those people on those roads. I'm not going to say the words because they'll use it against me, but you know what I mean when I say we want Nimipu on those roads. the law enforcement from Idaho County and from the the law enforcement officers from the Forest Service are in mass in that area. Uh, when we and our the Nez Perce Tribe Fish and Wildlife Conservation officers, enforcement officers are also in the area to support our people, make sure nothing happens to our people. So we do have some security. Um, and yes, I see your comment, Molly. So remind me because I have something to say about that. Um, uh, ISP has been making some arrests on them, and Idaho County has been making arrests on the people down below. I guess there's been some drug interdiction arrests before they've gotten to the area. And while they're up there, they have been uh, going into the camp and seeing what the people are doing. And it's kind of funny because we were in a camp today, the Rainbow Warriors camp, and every time a law enforcement officer comes up the road, they all have a little keyword they shout out, and everybody shouts it out throughout the whole camp, and everybody puts stuff away. Uh, so they're used to it. At one point, they used the argument. Oh, it was ridiculous. We get harassed by law enforcement. We get shunned by society. We're not welcome in some places. They won't give us food anymore, and going on and on. And like they wanted us to pity them, and it's like, well, yeah, we know that. We've lived that. Welcome to being a minority in America. Um, and then others were going into their European history about how they've been forced off their lands and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, you know what? You're now on our lands, and you're impugning upon our rights to go up there and have food and plants available. Now, some of the Rainbow Warriors will tell you that they are not going after plants. They're not going after foods and that stuff on roots on the land. But the man who got them up there, what was his name? Call him the preacher man. He's a street preacher. He does the Jesus camp. He actually has been in the area last year for huckleberry picking and found out all these huckleberries. Well, when the Rainbow Warriors held their spring general council in Lochsa, when they tried to invite our elders up there, this man was actually camping up there where they're at now, and went to Lochsa and said, hey, come on over here. There's a great place over here. And so that's how they ended up there, because he told them about the huckleberries that are up there and the other plant foods that are up there. There's also another really contentious individual who's been posting on the Nez Perce Facebook page, the Nez Perces, and he was talking about how telling other Rainbow Warriors and telling us basically that the Nimipu had abandoned the food and the plant life in that area, so to preserve it, they needed to come in. And he also thinks he's our prophet coyote. So he sat there and lied to us in our little council and said, oh, I never said that. And so Anthony brought out his phone and said, you mean you didn't say this? And he produced the Facebook post. And then we went on about something else, and he said, I never said that. And then he said he didn't talk about, come up here because there's plants and foods and roots, medicines. And we showed him another post to the council saying, did you not say this? And Anthony read it off. And, well, I never said it. And I looked at him and said, you're going to argue with a picture of something you posted on Facebook? That's not even the post. That's a picture, a screenshot. And so, it goes back and forth. Some of the people said they were going to talk to this guy. I don't know if they did or not. But it doesn't matter, because some of the Rainbow Warriors that are on the road now going there are going there because this guy has told them that there's all these plants and medicines up in that area. And they are not being allowed in the food banks in Idaho County, which I totally agree with. They're not from here. That's for the people of Idaho County, from Riggins. Now the store won't let them into the store. So now they have no means of getting food. They claimed that while they were at Laksa, one of the federal officers up there gave them a roadkill deer. I don't know why they would do that, but they did. And they brought that up there to up at the top of Race Creek on the Bean Creek Road, the 241 road. And I talked to the guys yesterday, and the Rainbow Warriors, and they said that they had one deer and it was bad. It was really bad, so they had to throw the meat out. I do know from some separate intel that they do not have the money that they needed to provide food and supplies for this camp this year. The reason why that is important is the Rainbow Warriors have split. That's what I was talking about earlier. The ultra radicals are not even here yet. These guys showed up. Some of the elders that were here, the Rainbow Warrior elders, left when they found out that we didn't want them here. And these guys kept on with the plan. There's the ultra radicals in the main National Rainbow Warriors group, and they are planning on coming to this same spot in 2021. That's the split, and that's the money. That's why there's no money here this year. This other group did not release the funds for this year's camp to the people that are up there. Normally they release the funds once the camp is on site in their final spot where they're going to hold the meeting. They did not release that to them, and they're spending the money now. And they've already told, where I've been told by an individual, that the main national group has told this group, we are coming back here next year. If we don't get our relatives out there on those two roads now and show them that we don't want them here, they're going to be back next year. And next year, they're going to have more money and they're going to have more people. Every one of the Rainbow Warrior representatives up there has said they're going to have about 1,000 people. That's what they're estimating this year. If they get their act together at the national level and come here anyway, and the national group has already expressed that they don't care what the tribes think. They're going to do whatever they want to do wherever they want to do it. If that national group comes here, then we could have on the order of 20,000 Rainbow Warriors up in that area. There's no way that meadow, that area can support 20,000 foreigners up there in an area that's a tiny little campground. The campground is where the road is, but where they're going is down about a half mile from there into a meadow. And the Rainbow Warriors have said that normally they don't go back into an area until at least 10 years have passed. So they would be violating their own little sacred rule by coming back here in 2021, but that's the national group. And they already expressed they don't care what the Nimipu think. They're going to be here. So that's why I'm asking all the relatives, the Nimipu relatives, to talk to all of your relatives, start coordinating some groups immediately. This is Sunday night. Their main meeting the main meeting for prayers on July 4th. I think the 2nd is when they start. But the people are going up that road now. I counted about 10 cars when I came down Race Creek Road going uphill. So I guess that's where we're at with regard to that. The boys they have one, what do you call those little shelter? The canopy. They have one canopy. They're going to need some more canopies. If someone can loan them a canopy, send that up there. Anthony Capitelli is the main point of contact for supplies going up there. Or send your relatives up there. Just go up Race Creek. You'll see our Nimipu camp at about the 9-mile mark. 6-mile mark, somewhere around there. You'll see off to the right-hand side there. That's where the canopy is at, and there's a little fire there. There should be a couple more tents there now. I had to leave today because I have to go to work tomorrow. But relatives, we need to be there, and I can't stress that enough. There's only 1,000 this year, But if this national group gets its heels dug in with all this disrespect for us, they've already expressed that they don't care what we think. They're going to be back next year with 20,000 people up there. There's no way that area can support it, and there's no way they can say, "Oh, we're not going to dig your plants and we're not going to pick your berry." There's no way they can regulate 20,000 people. They just can't do it. They can't even regulate the people that are drinking up there right now, supposedly in a family, from fighting each other. There's no guarantee that what they're promising they can uphold. Um, and they've already lost one car today. They can't find one car. They kicked 2 people out of camp last night, and one of them drove off in a blue car. It hit a barricade on the road going down to Lucille, and there's car parts there, but there's no car, and they can't find the car. So they were looking for the car today. So it might be over a cliff somewhere. We don't know. We didn't bother go looking for it, but they are looking for this car now. There's no way that they can regulate 20,000 people in our territory, in that sensitive area, and say that none of them are going to pick berries, none of them are going to dig roots, none of them are going to harvest medicines up there. So, this week, if you've got relatives that have the free time, even if they can stay up there one night, we need relatives on the Lucille Road going up the hill and on the Race Creek Road going up the hill. That comes right off of Highway 95. And I'm not gonna say on the air what they're doing on the road, but you all know what our relatives need to be doing on that road. Right now, like I said, they're occupying the camp, and the alcohol camp people. The guy's name is Paradox. Came into our camp and said, "Well, we came to ask. We'd already scouted this area, and this is where we decided to hold the alcohol camp, and so." We were wondering if you were going to be staying here or leaving. And I told him, well, we're not leaving. We're not leaving. So, yeah, no alcohol camp here. So, where the boys are at up there tonight, they're occupying a space. And we've told them they're not going to go there, and they're not going to be there. We need more people on the roads so that we can tell them they're not supposed to be here. They're not going to be here. We're not allowing them to be there. So, I will tell you that I see your comments there, Red Wing. We do have law enforcement in the area, so that's going to create another issue. I understand it. We're going to have to wait till they're down the hill before we do it. But yeah, another good idea. So, Molly was talking about there's a Bigfoot sighting in Lucille. That was probably the one that we were talking to last night. Pretty cool area up there. There were some tracks both up at the Rainbow Warriors camp and at our camp. There were some tracks there. So he's in the area. Whoever's been praying for the Bigfoot to come there, he's there. I will tell you that today it was raining up there. It was raining pretty hard at times. Pray for rain. If that meadow is at the top of that drainage there, and it's in a bowl, and I'm hoping that if enough rain gets there and floods out the meadow, that they won't be able to hold their little meeting there. They dug out fire pits today, so they're filling up with water tonight because of all the rain that's going on up there. So our relatives that are up there, they're kind of suffering a little bit through the rain, but at the same time, the more and more rain that comes there, it makes it harder and harder for them to hold their little meeting in this pristine meadow. So if anybody has any questions, drop me a line, let me know. I'll give some more updates and provide a little more information and a couple more videos. But like I said, I just got down the hill, so I need to clean up and get to sleep so I can make it to work in the morning. But again, I'm going to ask all Nemipu, if you have relatives you can send up there, we need them up there. We need enough to hold the camp down where we're camped at. And then we need one group on the Lucille Road and one group on the Race Creek Road. And I'll just tell you the directions to get there. You go up Race Creek. You go up from the end of the pavement. I believe it's like 9 miles. That'll take you right to the camp. Our camp is only about 6 miles up, so we're 3 miles before their camp. You go up the Lucille Road, you'll pass through the Rainbow Warriors camp and go down the 241 road, and you'll come to our camp. It'll be on the left-hand side if you're coming down the hill. That's all you need to know. And just if you go up there, take some tarps. They got one chainsaw, two chainsaws for one day, and then there'll be another chain. They'll be down to one chainsaw. So they'll need some chainsaw gas, some chainsaw, some gas oil mix. They have axes. They are going to, like I said, they're going to need some non-perishable food items just because of the environment they're in. It takes a long time to get ice to bring it up there. And I will tell you the other thing, the Rainbow Warriors of Moscow, Idaho, Dawn is their representative, went up there to tell them that they need to leave because they need to represent our wishes. The Moscow Rainbow Warriors are providing money to our warriors up there, our people, gas money, so that they can uphold this action. That's how much the Moscow Rainbow Warriors believe that those guys up there are in the wrong. So I just want to reiterate that if you whatever supplies you can, if you can send a tent, but send relatives up there. We need relatives up there. If you're going up there, grab 3 people. If you know someone else is going up there, tell them to grab 3 people. Let's get some people up there so that they know now this year we don't want them here, and next year they're going to face even more if they come in mass. I just can't fathom 20,000 people in that tiny little area where they're at. It cannot support that, and it's extremely disrespectful that they won't come to us, because like I said, they do some good things, but the other thing is I asked them today, is there some place where you are welcome? Because they talk about going all over the United States and getting arrested here and harassed there and all these horrible things, but they said they have a place in Greengrass, South Dakota. They've been offered a permanent encampment. And I said, well, why don't you go there? And they said, well, they like to go all over the United States. And I said, well, why don't you just stay home versus having this fight every year? So they have a place to go. They have a place to be. Having said all this, if the tribe ever comes down to a direct action against the Stibnite gold mine in Yellow Pine, Idaho, even if this goes down really bad this year with the Rainbow Warriors, the Rainbow Warriors have promised that they'll be there to back us up at the Yellow Pine if we do a direct action. So we have that going for us. On that, there's so much belief in what they do that they will actually come. I have every sense of confidence in the fact that if we say, hey, Stibnite gold mine's going on, we're standing in front of the bulldozers, these hippies will show up. Yeah, they wear dirty clothes, they don't bathe, they eat whatever, but they don't have clean clothes, that they're not worried about getting it dirty. They don't have fancy stuff, and so they can sit in a tree for months on end, which they've done before. I don't know of many other people that would just drop all physical comforts and do that, but they live that every day. So when it comes to direct actions like that, they are a resource to be reckoned with. So that's just a side note, and that was my offering to them. I was like, well, why don't you consider Yellow Pine and then come back to the tribe and talk to the people here. Come down to on the reservation so that people can come and meet with you and express their desires, express their wants, and you can tell what you do. Maybe they will come to an agreement, because in 1973, the Nez Perce tribe welcomed them to an area down by Council, Idaho. they came to the tribe. The tribal council met with them. This is what I've been told. The tribal council met with them and said, well, there's an area down by council. I can't remember the name of the place. Uh, but the tribe issued a letter saying, we don't see a problem. There's nothing in this area. You would be more than welcome to meet down there. So Don from the Moscow Rainbow Warrior Society is saying that today he's going to remind those people that at one time the tribe said you could go there. The tribe issued the general Nez Perce Tribe Executive Committee issued a letter then stating that they were welcome to meet there. I don't know where it's at, but it's somewhere in the history books there at the tribe. And that's just to say at one time there was a beneficial relationship, but they probably had all kinds of prior meeting so that we did have a free, prior, and informed consent for them to come here. They didn't just show up. And I told them, I said, you need to do your legwork. You need to do your preparation work. You need to come to us. Come to the people. Don't meet 85 miles outside the reservation boundary and expect everyone to show up. Especially right now during COVID. Especially around people that don't practice social distancing. So, you know, I just offer that as a just something to chew on is the fact that we have welcomed them here before, but in a specific area, and I don't know what the numbers were at that time, but it was probably far enough out of our way. I will Talmux. I will offer that some of the Shoshone Bannock are also in support of the Nimipu for keeping these people out of the territory. Um, and so there may be some Shoshone Bannock that come up to support the Nimipu. Um, Regardless of whether what your feelings are toward the Shoshone Bannock, the Shobans, uh, this is one area where our enemy, the enemy of my enemy can be my friend for a little bit, regardless of what your feelings are. Um, but uh, I would just say that we are in unity in the fact that we have expressed an intent for them to meet with us, them to respect us, um, and we're in unity with all these other tribes around the country that have said we don't want you here in those mass numbers. Uh, we don't want you coming into our living room and saying, hey, we're going to be here for 2 weeks. And that's not incent, that's notification. That's telling us what you're going to do. And that's exactly the same thing the pipeline companies, fracking companies, oil companies do to tribes. And you can't convey that to them strongly enough that, you're doing the same thing, the same colonizer thing that's been going on to us for all these years. You're coming in and you're telling us what you're going to do in our territory. And they just don't, there's a lot of education that needs to go on with them, but before I think they can reach a level where they have that understanding. So just something to think about. I hope that, regardless of our differences between the tribes, that we can come together in uh, this time where we have that unity, one heart, one mind, one prayer, of the protection of our land. We have this common ground. So I'm hopeful that, we would greet them as allies in this fight to keep these people, these invaders, out of our territory, away from our resources. Because if we send them down the road, where else are they going to go? Well, they're probably the nearest other spot. But we need to do it now before 2021 comes and they're standing on our doorstep 20,000 strong. Again, with no free prior and informed consent, no consultation, just a notification. Hey, we're here. So, yeah, I'm thankful for everyone's prayers for our boys up there. And I told Dawn to go back and reiterate today those people, those rainbow warriors up there, sat there and listened to our young men, the future of our tribe. They listened to them and then turned their backs on them today and went ahead with their plans. And I said, that's an affront. That's an affront to me as an older Nimipu. That's an affront to our elders. It was an affront to our elders that they didn't let them know anyway, show them that respect. Shoshone Tatanka from the Lakota Nation, from the Tokala Society, does want to meet with the elders. He does want to show that respect. He's a native relative. He gets that. So he does want to meet, and this is aside from the Rainbow Warrior Society. He wants to meet, talk with the elder circle, and let them know his point of view personally as a man, as a human being. So I don't, some coordination will have to go on for that to happen, but at least there's one, and his brother Duck, those two are of the same mind to come in a respectful way. They don't speak for the whole Rainbow Warrior Society, but at least they're making that attempt. If they're in the same camp, they're doing that good thing that needs to be done. And I explained to them when I've gone on direct actions in Washington, D.C., in Pierce, South Dakota, Standing Rock, Nebraska, Texas. We, as natives, we always ask the natives, the indigenous population of that area where we're going to be holding an action, for permission to come on their land. When we hold our flotilla here on the Snake River, I welcome the Kalispels here to our territory as allies. We have that protocol, that respect, that knowledge of how to treat each other. And so I told Don, you need to explain that to them. And they didn't do that to us. They didn't come and talk to us. So if you have any more questions, just let me know. Send me a direct message. I can answer most of the questions that I know of anyway. And Anthony Capitelli, I can't remember his last name. Capitelli, he's up there working his butt off. He's been doing a lot, giving a lot of miles in, going up and down the hill. And like I said, Michaela, Kelsey, and Meredith Moffat are up the hill tonight. So we've got probably about 10 to 11 people up there. But I think the Moffats are coming back down tomorrow. I think Lewis is coming back tomorrow. So that we're down people again. Anthony Capetillo. So we're going to be down to people again. So we need people this week because I can't stress enough. If you got one or two relatives that can make it up there, send them up there. If they need gas money, start getting the relatives involved so we can get some gas money to go down there, send the relatives down there. Right now there are, I'm going to say 150 Rainbow Warriors there, but there were carloads going up today. I saw probably 20 carloads of people going up. So, yeah, probably 800 more. And if you can imagine that in that area, once you go up there and see that area, you'll see that there's no way that can handle 1,000 people. It's just, it's a horrible thing about the land. And, even with rehabilitation that they say they do, for that time being right there, they're doing damage to the land, and it's going to take some time for it to recover. I mean, they openly admit that they take 10 years before they go back to a space to give the land time to recover. Well, if you've got to give the land 10 years time to recover, what kind of damage are you doing? So, yeah, good prayers for our people up on the hill tonight. Good prayers for more rain, and good prayers that these people go away and come back when they can show some respect and show some benefit to actually being here on the land. And I'm not saying they're not beneficial to the land, but they haven't shown us. They haven't told us. They haven't told the majority of the population that still believes it's just one big party, which like I say, the party is, but they need to come. They come right or don't come at all. So, katsiai o oikolo himiuma kaalati wama. Thank you all, relatives and friends, for supporting and for the future support that's going to go on throughout this week. My prayer is that many of our relatives will go up there. We need to be on both of those roads. And we can think outside the box because we're natives and that's our territory. Yeah, katsiaya.